Welcome to Daily Tanya. Today is Monday, the 10th day of Cheshvan. Let's begin with Tzedakah. Gedela, Tzedakah, Shemekareves Esei Geula. Tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. And today we concluded the chapter 26, letter 26 in Igeret Hakodesh. This very interesting letter, the Alter Rebbe clarifies the statement in the Zohar that talks about what we will study in the time of Mashiach, talking about the inner part of the mystical part of the Torah, which he calls the tree of life, versus the revealed part of the Torah, which we call the tree of knowledge of good and bad. And Alter Rebbe clarified what that means, that although the study of the Nigla, the revealed part of the Torah, well, that was done through all the sages throughout the generations. And in the last few lessons, we explained many parts of this Zohar. The Rebbe now concludes and says that in the time of Mashiach, the job of refining and extracting the godly sparks from the darkness, that job will be done, will be over. We will no longer need to extract those sparks because everything will be extracted already through the work that we do now throughout the exile, with the Torah, with the mitzvahs. And as we said yesterday also, when we study Torah, the understanding the problems in the Torah, the problems represent the concealment, the darkness that conceals the light. And when we study Torah, we come up with solutions, with our own intellect, our own brain, our own understanding. We extract those godly sparks that is in the darkness, that is concealed by the questions. And that job will be done. So in the time of Mashiach, then our study of Torah will take a whole different meaning. The study of the Torah will be in order to make higher unions in higher places with Hashem. And therefore, when in the time of Mashiach, we will not need to study so much the revealed part of the Torah. We'll focus more on the inner part of the Torah. And how then, the question was, how will we know what to do? How to observe the Torah mitzvahs? When Mashiach comes, if you won't be studying these halachas. So the Alter Rebbe explains that it gives basically two explanations. One is that in the time of Mashiach, we will not forget what we study. The forgetfulness comes from the klipa, something that you're not completely one with, you tend to forget. Something is really, when you're really connected with something deeply, you're not going to forget. You're not going to forget to walk out your house to wear your pants. Something that is really you're connected with, it's dear to you, you're one with it. So everything what we know, what we study in the Torah, we will know. We'll know all the halachas. And then the Alter Rebbe says also that we will know them also through knowing the mystical part of it. Just like the Avram Avinu, our father Abraham. He knew, the sages tell us that Avram Avinu was he fulfilled all the Torah and all the mitzvahs, all the commandments before the Torah was given. How did he know what to fulfill? How to fulfill? There are certain rabbinic laws even that he fulfilled. And that is because he saw them from the spiritual point. When you're connected with the spiritual part of it, you already know. It's like when someone tells you something to do. He can give you a list of things to do and you will have to memorize what to do. But when you're connected to the person, when you become close to the person, you start understanding the way he thinks, feeling the way he feels, you're going to know what he wants. In the time of Mashiach, we will be so connected with the spiritual part of us. The physical is going to be just secondary. There's the famous story of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Barditchev, that he once turned to Hashem and he says, God, why are you complaining? In other words, what do you expect from the Jewish people? You expect them to do the Torah mitzvahs. Look what you did. You gave them a physical world in front of their eyes. That's what they see. That's what they feel. That's what they want. And then you took a little book called the Torah, and you wrote the true reality, the real reality. What is there? What is really true? There is God, there is heaven, there's all the good things you put in the little book. Why don't you do it the other way around? Put all the godliness, all the truth in front of their eyes, and you should write also in a little book, by the way, there's also a physical world, physical temptations. And then you'll see what choice they will make. So basically, in the time of Mashiach, we will live, we will see in front of our eyes the true reality, the godliness. There are tzaddikim that even today, they live that way. Yes, they see a physical world, but they don't see the physicality. They see the spirituality of it. So when you see the spirituality of it, you're connected with the spiritual, automatically you know what the right thing to do, what Hashem wants. So that itself comes from connecting the inner part. Then you know what you need to do. And therefore the focus of study will be more the mystical part of the Torah. So let's see inside how the Alter Rebbe concludes this beautiful letter. Aval b'tzeis hashchina meklipas noiga, or maklipas, acha sheyushlam birur v'netzotzos v'yufrad hara me'atoy v'yispor lekol peyel yavan. But when the Shechina will emerge from the klipas noiga, as we said, in the time of Mashiach, the Shechina will emerge, will be extracted from the shells. After the extraction of the sparks will be completed, and the evil of the klipas will be separated from the good of holiness, and all the workers of evil will be dispersed. And the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is of klipas noiga, and which prevails during the time of exile, will no longer be dominant, because the good will have departed from it. So klipas noiga is influential only by virtue of its minimal component of good. As soon as this is extracted, klipas noiga will have no dominion whatsoever. So, therefore, we will not need to study the Torah in order to extract, because it will be extracted already. So what will be the meaning of studying the Torah? It will be in order to bring about consummation, the union, the marriage between us and Hashem. Then people will engage in Torah, in study of Torah, and in observance of the commandments, not in order to extract the sparks, as in the present. But what would be the study of the Torah? It will be in order to bring about the consummation of Yechudim, the union or marriage of Sephiros, more sublime than those which are affected through our present Torah study, in order to call forth more sublime lights transcending Atzilus. So our connection with Hashem, the Torah is connected to the source, and the root is even higher than Atzilus, and our studying the Torah then will be to bring a deeper union between us and Hashem, even higher, that transcending the Atzilus. Kamoisha Omar Arizal, this is explained in the writing of Rabbi Yitzchak Luyer of blessed memory. V'hakol al yidei pnimius haTorah, and everything will be accomplished by means of the pnimius of the Torah, the esoteric dimension of the Torah. L'kayim amitzvos b'kavonos aliyah shemechavnes lo'iras aliyanim chulu, by the performance of the commandments with lofty mystical devotions directed to drawing down sublime lights from the divine luminary. And he says, why? Because the kisheresh hamitzvos u'lemayla mayla ba'ir sof baruch hu, for the root of the commandments is exceedingly high in the blessed Ein Sof, at a level loftier than Atzilus. So that's what's going to be the performance of the mitzvahs and the study of the Torah in the time of Mashiach. Now in the parentheses, the Alter Rebbe notes and says that we know there is a statement our sages say that in the future all commandments will be nullified, will be abrogated, no longer done. So, for example, it says that a person that passes away, we bury them with shrouds. So when you bury it with shrouds, there are certain laws regarding garments. A person is not allowed to wear shatnez, wool, and linen together. But if a person is dead, that dead person is not obligated to perform the mitzvahs. So you're allowed to bury them with shrouds that has mixed wool and linen together. However, the problem is, what will happen if he dies? You bury them with the shrouds, and then tomorrow Mashiach comes, and there will be the resurrection of the dead, and he will be wearing something which is forbidden. So the answer the Talmud tells us is that in the future, the mitzvahs will be abrogated, will no longer be applicable. So the Alter Rebbe explains that there's two periods. There is a period when Mashiach will come, then all the mitzvahs will continue to fulfill. Then is going to be the other period after the resurrection of the dead. Then the mitzvahs will not be kept like we do today. So that's what Alter Rebbe says here. As far as the statement of our sages of blessed memory, that the commandments will be abrogated in the future, this refers to the era of the resurrection of the dead. In the days of the Messiah, however, before the resurrection of the dead, they will not be abrogated. So therefore, this is why the Torah study will then be mainly directed to the pnimius of the Torah, the innermost mystical depths of the commandments and their hidden reasons. But The revealed aspect of the Torah, however, will be manifest and known to every Jew by an innate and unforgotten knowledge. So we will not need to review the Torah. We'll know it. You learn it once and you know it. Forgetfulness, as we said, comes from the klipa, from the shells, that when you're not connected with it deeply, you forget. But then we'll be in a different state, a different level. However, says the Alter Rebbe, there is also the Erev Rav, those non-Jews that will, the mixed multitudes, that they will join, and they will not be in the level of refining themselves through the panemius of the Torah. They will still need to fight this struggle with the evil, and they will need to study the revealed part of the Torah in order to do that. That's what Alter Rebbe continues now. Only the mixed multitude, and not the Jews, will have to toil in these aspects of the Torah, because they will not have merited to taste from the tree of life, meaning the pnimius of the Torah and of the commandments. They will therefore need to engage in Torah in Mishnah in order to weaken, by their occupation with Torah, the power of the Sitra Acha that cleaves to them, so that it will not dominate them and cause them to sin. And Alter Rebbe brings from the verse that it says that even then, there will be some people who will be tending to attracted to sin. Thus it is written, and the sinner at the age of 100 will be cursed. This refers to the sinners of the mixed multitude. Thus, even with the arrival of Mashiach, there will be sinners among the mixed multitude, since the Sitra Achra cleaves to them. So they will therefore require means by which to weaken it, so that they will not sin. Nor will they need only the revealed aspect of the Torah in order to repel the Sitra Achra. They will need also the revealed part in order to fight it. In addition, says the Alter Rebbe, on a practical level, they will need the detailed rulings, prohibitions, and impurity more than the Jews. For why? Because the latter, the Jews, nothing will occur that is ritually unfit, impure, or forbidden. Why not? Since there shall not befall any sin to the righteous. As the Torah says, the verse says that the tzaddik kol ra, the tzaddik is protected and no sin comes to a tzaddik. And in the time of Mashiach, all Jews will be at the level of the righteous. In addition to that, says the Alter Rebbe, another reason why we will not need to study so much the revealed part of the Torah, because we will know it. You'll know it from knowing the inner part of the Torah. It is also possible, and indeed probable, that the Jewish people will know all the fundamentals of the revealed plane of the Torah from the panemius of the Torah, as was the case with our father Avram, peace to him. They will therefore not need to occupy themselves with them, with the laws defining what is permitted or prohibited, pure or impure, at all. However, in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, even though there was sages who were so on a holy level, they still needed to study the revealed part of the Torah, because that was part of the process of refining and extracting the laws and the godly spirit, the spiritual sparks through their studying. At the time of the Second Temple, however, by contrast, although the scholars did not derive their sustenance from the illiterate, for they had their own fields and vineyards, they needed to be involved in these laws. And not only for their practical application, but because this is the main purpose of divine service. And the purpose was to weaken the power of the Sitra Achra, the other side, and to elevate the sparks of holiness by means of Torah study and worship, as explained elsewhere. So here that the Rebbe concludes, after this, all these explanations that we explained, we will understand what it says in the Raya Mehemna in the Zohar. After the above words of truth, it will be possible to clearly understand the earlier quoted passage from the Raya Mehemna, which spoke of the tree of good and evil, and the prohibition and permission. Meaning the klipas nega, which is the mainstay of this world, as it is written in Eitz Chaim. So at the moment, until Mashiach arrives, the dominant influence in this material world is klipas nega, a tree of knowledge of good and bad, good and evil. But after his arrival, however, this dominion will cease, and man's divine service will be directed not to extracting the sparks of holiness hidden in the material world, but to bring about ever higher supernal unions, as explained above, the Daila Mavin, and this will suffice for the discerning. So this is the end, the explanation of this beautiful letter 26. And Amir Tashem, tomorrow we'll start a new letter 27. Have a wonderful day, and all the best.